Hi, my name is Lindsay Johnson, and you're listening to Worldwide's Uncommon Conversations podcast. Today I'm talking with Aman Khera, Head of Global Regulatory Strategy at Worldwide Clinical Trials, who has some very exciting news to share with us. So hi Aman, welcome and thanks for talking with me.
Hi Lindsay, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you again.
So what is your exciting news you wanted to share?
So my exciting news is that I will be joining the TOPRA Board. And TOPRA stands for the Organization of Professionals in Regulatory Affairs.
That's really exciting. Do you mind telling us a little more about yourself and why you're excited about this new role?
Yeah, absolutely. So joining the board was something I've been thinking about for quite a while. And I have been a member of TOPRA, and it was formerly called BIRA, for over 20 years. I've continued to retain my membership of the association when I moved from the UK over to Canada, and having moved countries, I also continue to be a member of the Regulatory Rapporteur editorial panel for a period as well. Previously, having been a member of the editorial panel of BIRA, I've been an active member in TOPRA in North America for over 10 years, currently co-chair of the North American Steering Group, the leadership team of TOPRA, and in addition to that, I'm also a member of the TOPRA Diversity Committee, where I provide my experiences and expertise as a diversity, inclusion, and belonging champion to help drive forward those initiatives for TOPRA members, with TOPRA now being a signatory to the Science Council's Diversity Declaration. So really, all this volunteering in TOPRA in different capacities, becoming a board member was the next step, I guess you could say, with my love affair for TOPRA. Okay, so this is a real chance for, say, a regulatory professional to actually influence the work of their professional body and to actually offer their time and talents to promoting TOPRA and the profession of regulatory affairs in general. And I've always been about kind of elevating the voice of regulatory affairs in our industry as such. And I'm really excited that I get a chance to help shape that strategy for TOPRA in these very interesting times at the moment. And this is where members of the board will also help participate in the advisory council of TOPRA with leading figures in the regulatory affairs world, which is global, of course. And I thought about this very carefully, but this is also to help further the next steps in my professional development. Taking on board positions is something that I've been encouraged by various mentors and other leaders that are in industry to pursue. And participating as a board member at TOPRA is really going to help me gain some solid experience in a governance capacity. But guess what? In a field I absolutely love, regulatory affairs. Right? So yeah, very excited.
So what will your responsibilities entail in this position?
I'm going to have the oversight of the activities of TOPRA in the North American network, and I'm going to help raise the profile and networking and educational provisions for this region. And working alongside other members of the board, we collectively have the legal and financial responsibility for TOPRA and setting and monitoring its strategy, and of course the overall accountability for the organizational performance of TOPRA as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Sounds like you're going to be pretty busy.
Yes, I am, for sure.
And can you tell me a little bit more about TOPRA? What is sort of the backstory behind TOPRA and why was it established?
It's a wonderful journey, the story actually. So TOPRA has been promoting regulatory excellence since 1978, right? And the organization then was known as BIRA, the British Institute for Regulatory Affairs, okay? The organization is now known as the Organization for Professionals in Regulatory Affairs, TOPRA. And back in 1978, there were 9 subscribers who actually signed on to the Constitution, and they had a few objectives. They were ambitious goals at that time to establish the professional identity and standards for reg affairs personnel, and to promote education and science and regulatory affairs, and to also advance the professional competency of its members as well. So these were quite ambitious goals at a time when product registration or having a product go to market was poorly understood. And there was lots of fragmentation going on with, from the geographical aspect as well. And it wasn't quite understood as much as it is now. And no one really thought of regulatory affairs as an enabler of innovation. Well, that's all changed now. A lot has happened since 1978. There's been lots of developments, and TOPRA is now licensed by the Science Council in the UK to actually award the Chartered Scientist accreditation as well. So you can imagine the journey that's been going on from the late 70s, where the company was established. From the early 80s, there was the first introductory courses that were held in London. There were the first postgraduate diplomas, and then there was a first master's program awarded. TOPRA was then formed instead of BIRA. There was a new name and a new brand. 10 years ago, there was the first awards for regulatory excellence. TOPRA has moved on to have conferences in India, worldwide. There's apprenticeship standards for the UK that have been established, approved. And right now we're at that point where there's chartered scientist accreditation as well. It's been a fun journey for TOPRA, I have to say. Yeah, it really has.
Wow, that's really interesting. I love hearing the backstory and how the role of TOPRA has evolved over the years.
Yeah, it's continuously evolving, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So what have your experiences been with TOPRA so far? Do you have any cool stories, or have you made any really neat connections so far?
I started off early on saying being on the board is just, for me, seems like a natural evolution with how I've been volunteering at TOPRA. And like I said, I've been volunteering in different capacities. When I first started out in regulatory affairs many years ago, someone very respected in the drug development industry had said, "Congratulations, Aman, you have joined an exciting profession, and there will never be enough regulatory professionals in the world because we just aren't understood," right? And that's really stayed with me as well. And I found in my career, my involvement in TOPRA has actually helped so much with understanding what's going on in the industry, the landscape, and touching base with other leaders and other regulatory professionals. The regulatory profession it's a small network, I have to say, compared to other functions in our industry. I've made some great friends along the way. There's mentors that I've kept in touch with. I am mentoring other regulatory professionals as well. So I think more than anything, it's people talk about the positives of networking. It's beyond that. It's like an extended family. It is.
Wow. That is just fabulous. Do you see your role at TOPRA and your role at Worldwide sort of blending in any way?
So, like I said, I've always volunteered at TOPRA and will continue to do so. And for me, as a regulatory professional, as I've developed in my career, volunteering at TOPRA, giving my time, my energy, my insights, my thoughts and what have you, it's pretty much second nature to me. So I can't imagine not doing something with TOPRA. And how will I balance everything? I think this gives to, because I'm so passionate about regulatory affairs and I'm so motivated to pay it forward, I guess you could say, lend my expertise and my insight and my experience to help continue shaping the profession of which I am a member of as well. So this is like an evolution for me.
Well, I think you're a fantastic addition to both TOPRA and Worldwide.
Thank you.
So talking about your career and how it's evolved, what is an accomplishment that you're most proud of?
I think and I've thought about this, you always have to have a period of self-reflection about what drives you, what motivates you, what do you want to continue doing. And as you know, I'm always thinking about the future of the regulatory professional. How is that going to impact me? How is that going to impact other professionals that are up and coming in this industry as well? So I think there's no one set accomplishment or aspect in my career as such. It's been evolving and growing more than anything else, but I've come to realize that helping other people as well in their profession, in their development journey, is something that I'm very passionate about. It's great talking about expedited pathways and how you can help navigate the regulatory strategy of a clinical development. But that doesn't negate, you have guidances and you have websites, you have the intel in front of you. That doesn't negate the need for you to be able to communicate effectively. And I really am a person that speaks to that and advocates for communication. This is not a role in the industry where you can sit down with your laptop down and thinking you can just communicate through email and what have you. You need to have those conversations, whether they are virtual or face-to-face. But more than anything, it's to advocate about celebrating regulatory affairs as a profession to be proud of, to be in, actually. So I'm humbled and honored to continue on in my journey in regulatory affairs and lending my regulatory lens to, clinical development of therapies and products in development phases. That's, I think, every day making a difference that will actually impact humanity and healthcare. Every day, every person is making a difference. So I think that's what I'm probably proud of more than anything, continuing to help make a difference, as well as other people in industry that feel the same as well.
That's neat. I really like that perspective. So as a regulatory professional, you're always listening, watching, reading. So what are you reading and watching right now that you think others might find enjoyable or interesting?
So I'm an avid reader and listener of thought leaders' content. So people that are shaping the industry, whether it may be thinking about how our clinical development is going to be changing and in what way is it going to be changing. So there's lots of activity on LinkedIn. There is lots of activity in virtual magazines as well, lots of conversations happening in professional bodies and community chats and what have you. So there's no one set resource or a go-to person. I think more than anything, I'm learning to give more input or insights to share my knowledge and experience and add to those conversations. I'm learning every single day. I think that's the biggest thing, to continue to learn and be appreciative that change is constant and to keep a pulse point on that for sure.
Awesome. I love that you're not only reading and watching, but also giving it your own perspectives as well. That's great. Okay, so my final question I have for you is, what's your favorite thing to do on your day off when you're not being a rebel regulator or a TOPRA rep?
More than anything, it's just to relax in these unprecedented times. We've been waiting for our puppy to come into our family, so puppy life is consuming me at this moment in time.
Well, thank you so much, Aman. This has been a pleasure learning more about you and TOPRA, so thank you so much for joining me and talking with me today.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Lindsay. Thank you so much.